We are doing a little mindset talk today because I have heard multiple different ways of talking about this same concept. And I think that it obviously, if like very successful people are talking about it around productivity and changing your environment and ways to improve productivity, then they probably have something going in terms of things that they have found successful.
And we're talking about this in our mentorship too.
Yes.
In the Elevate mentorship, that's our 8-week practitioner mentorship starting here in the end of March. The first week, week 0, is all about your state and putting yourself into this state of being the CEO, right? Like being the CEO of your day. I'm so tired of people being like, I don't have time.
Mm-mm.
You didn't make time. That's the reality.
Yes.
You have time. You just don't have the right priorities.
Productivity is about subtraction, not addition. It is about getting rid of all things that are taking away from the things that are going to move the needle, which honestly, like for Liz and I in this growth phase of the business has unfortunately been one, clients to an extent. Like we cannot continue to take clients on because we are so consumed with other things that we have on the horizon. And we also are working to develop the team, but someone that can take over that role, right? Because those are not areas that, yes, growing the team will help us grow, but like right now, Liz and I are the main lead gen for our company. And so we need to do things that are going to improve that, which is speaking and being on YouTube and creating more content and these things that unfortunately you have to put on the back burner when there's fires going on in the business and when there's, clients that need like attention. And those are our main priorities right now. And so it's having to shift priorities. And then on top of that, phone on airplane mode or, having a total hard stop on looking at social media or anything that becomes this black hole of your attention. And for me, I have had to be very clear on my days and what has to get done. And then I do not let my day end until those things are done. Like it's because it just rolls over to the next day and then something else happens or another fire pops up or whatever. And unfortunately, then it never gets done.
Yep.
And so for me, it has been more removal that has allowed me to have more time for what needs to happen. And then the top 2 to 3 things in a day. And I make sure that none of those are huge tasks because then I'm just setting myself up for failure. Like I have to write this guide that's 30 pages today. Like, no, I'm going to finish a chapter or I'm going to finish, this portion of it or whatever it might be. Because when you have this endless list, what often happens is you jump around from thing to thing and you do what's easier. Oh, and then I got this email. That's easy to answer. I'll do that right now, right? And you look for those dopamine hits, I think, of I accomplished it, right? I checked the box, but that thing didn't move the needle for you. Like it was just a random email that probably could have waited and you took away from the time of the thing that really needed to be done.
Well, it wasn't the priority for the day, right? So we're talking about 3 keys to being more productive. Number 1, subtraction, not addition. So what in your day do you need to cut out so that you have more time to do those larger things, the bigger priorities? And a lot of it, like you mentioned, is that people get so caught up in social media. I didn't even touch my Instagram yesterday until like 9:00 at night. And I was like, okay, I don't care. Today's over, right? Like I give and I post and we have, obviously all the content that we create. Like I don't have the energy to be on my stories every single day anymore. And eventually that, will come back. It's like an ebb and a flow. That was not the top priority. And so when you look at your day, I think the number one thing to do, because we're saying, okay, subtraction, not addition. What does that mean? Look at how you're spending your day. Write down every 15 to 20 minutes what you've done, what you've accomplished. Did that align with number 2 is set those 3 priorities that you need to get done. What are my 3 tasks that are going to move me forward? Because all that little stuff that happens, all that admin stuff or these messages or this noise, right, that happens, maybe it is your friends and they're blowing up on your text. I know last night you were like, I just came back and I have 75 text messages because we were in a group chat and I was firing away because I was working on my computer and my messages were on there and I was writing some emails and doing some other stuff. So it's like, okay, look at your day and prioritize. What are you doing with your time? And then ask yourself, was that helping you accomplish those top 3 priorities? And if that wasn't, then it needs to get moved, right? And so that's where you can start to time block and chunk your days. For where we are in our business, we have specific days. So Tuesdays are always going to be our podcast interview days. We have our marketing meeting. We have our admin meeting. Monday, we have our team meetings. We have our Elevate mentorship calls now. We have our mentorship call with Vince. And then I typically do my mentorships for the practitioners that report to me on Mondays. Wednesdays, Thursdays, clinical day. Friday is always usually content day, creation, writing, filming, whatever. And so it helps mentally when you are feeling so scatterbrained to come back to the drawing board and say, okay, how can I chunk this down and then really divide your time? Because we used to live in the role that many of you, if you're a practitioner right now, building your business, I know you are, for a lot of people I've talked to, listen to our podcast, you're doing a sales call, then you're doing a client call, then you need to film a reel, and then you need to go to your mentorship, and then you need to study, and then you need to write the protocol. It's like, no. You need to have a day and a time, or a time of your day. If you're most productive in the morning, time block that. Get your creativity down on paper, film your reels, write your blogs, whatever you need to do. Then midday, take your time client calls because you're really productive. And then maybe you put your sales calls on a specific day or later in the day. And I just think that you have to decide what is the right answer for you. No one can tell you that. But so step 1 is subtraction, not addition. Step 2 is 3 priorities for the day. And I think step 3 here is that you have to realize what type of person you are. Do you need some additional supports? What can that look like for you? I need breaks. I need a walk outside to decompress. We just did a walk, then we had our lunch. We should have eaten our lunch and then gone for a walk. But, I need breaks. I need decompression. I need a mental reset. So I try to get outside, get sunlight on my eyes, maybe get my feet in the grass if I can, if it's warm enough. I just need a little bit of that 10, 15 minute separation and then come back. There's actually lots and lots of research that shows the 50-10 rule makes you more productive. So you could set a timer for 50 minutes, 10-minute break. That's not always going to work in every scenario and every hour. But if you imagine that you put your phone on airplane mode down so it's not there, because when you see that light up, you're like, oh, just a second. Oh, it's okay. Oh, okay. All right.
Oh, I need to answer that email now. And then you
back down. And then you're like, what was I doing? And I got lost out of that train of thought. And so when you're doing that kind of deep work, you can just my husband got us these little timers from Amazon where you just set it on there. And then when it buzzes, that's your stop time. Go for a walk, go pee, go do some exercise, snacks, whatever you need to do. I also think that you can use some supports. And Becca and I have a few that we love that we'll share with you because we're probably pretty similar, but maybe a little bit different. But it's okay to use those supports. You don't have ADHD. Most people don't have ADHD.
Mm-hmm. No.
They're just too damn distracted and they can't stay focused because they're thinking about 1,000 things instead of put your blinders on. Here's what I need to do for the next 30 minutes. Boom, done, check the box. I get my dopamine hit. Now it's like you get that ball rolling and that productivity just keeps going. Most people don't work in these ways. And so then they think that they have ADHD. Alex Hormozy had a really great speech on this recently. And I agree with him. Mm-hmm. This, what do we want to call it? Explosion or epidemic maybe of everyone thinking that they have ADHD. All these menopause women thinking they have ADHD. Is there truth to things shifting, gut shifting, hormones shifting, impacting our cognition? Absolutely. But there's also this insane amount of distraction in our society that leaves people feeling like they need to do all, be all, get it all done in one day. They're overloading their to-do list. They feel like a failure. So then they can't get caught up and then they're anxious and then they can't think about everything because they have too much on the to-do list. It's just set yourself up for success. Don't set yourself up for failure.
Yeah. And honestly, there's a lot of people that even take Adderall that still can't focus and still can't get things done how they're supposed to. So
because it's not an Adderall deficiency.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Yeah. And the fact that we are basically giving our small children drugs.
We better not go there today. We're in our deal. No, we're on our periods. Let's not go there today.
I can't. Liz and I are cycle synced. We have the same time frame with our periods.
I actually almost texted you yesterday because I forgot to track in my Aura last month, but I know I'm always a day or two behind you. And so she had mentioned that and I was like, oh, I bet it's coming. And then, here we go.
She's 2-3 days behind me. So yeah, I use, and here's the thing, for high performing people, I think you need to use things. I really do. Unless you're this unicorn person that can totally stay focused on everything, and don't need any type of stimulant, then bless you. I use caffeine. Absolutely. I find coffee effective for me. I also will use methylene blue on the days that I need to be on mentally, which is usually like 3 days a week or so. And you don't want to take it daily. So I find I take 30 milligrams 2 to 3 days a week. Seems to do the trick, helps me stay very cognitively sharp. I also use C-Max on those days. So I do C-Max nasal spray. I do creatine and aminos during my workouts. I found that very helpful for performance, especially if I'm fasting. And then occasionally here and there, I find that fasting keeps me more focused. I just like running on ketones, and sometimes I'll take ketones, exogenous ketones, even if I'm not fasting. But all of those pieces help me stay a little bit more sharp. And then I will absolutely, put my phone away. I will, instead of going outside for a walk, if I feel like I'm getting kind of bogged down mentally, I'll go from sitting to standing to walking in my office. And I find that kind of like change of position helps me reset a little bit mentally. But yeah, at the end of the day,
blood flow.
Yes.
Right? That's the biggest thing that people don't think about is we're designed to move. Like you have all this energy built up. Our kids have all this energy built up. We wonder why we put them behind a desk from 8 to 5 or 8 to 3, whatever you want to call it. And yeah, they get a little bit of recess, but like they're made to move. We're made to move. And they can't focus. Well, yeah, because you're asking this child who's designed, how about you put them in an environment where they can move around and learn something at the same time?
Mm-hmm.
But so that blood flow, I think, is really important. And you could do that many, many ways.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it could be exercise snack, the walking pad. I use my walking pad a lot. And, especially because it's been cold here in the Midwest. Yep. But I'm like you in terms of I will add some supports, and I do kind of cycle mine. So I love my creatine and pre-workout combination with the ketones before I go to the gym, especially again on maybe training fasted days. And then I'll come home, and kind of depends upon like how I'm feeling, to be honest. I may do Noopept, I may do C-Max. We have both, or, one or the other. And then I have my Rise Focus capsules or Flow gummies. So I like those because they're more on the mushroom side of things. And I've actually had a few clients that have gotten off Adderall using lion's mane and choline, and then bringing those in. And that really helps. Last night, I needed to do some work after dinner and was on the computer for a few hours. So I took a couple of the Flow gummies. They weren't like stimulant, so you don't have that caffeine effect. You're not going to have a crash. And I just, again, got into the flow of it. Yeah. And so I think those things are very helpful. I do like the Best 365 mitochondrial support. So I have that a few days a week, mostly actually on my off days, in terms of training. And that's typically the days like today when I'm more focused on education and I need to be mentally sharp. And so there's methylene blue in there. There's PQQ. I'm forgetting.
I think ashwagandha is the other one in there now. It used to be urolithin A, but they changed their formulation. I don't know why.
So I still have the urolithin A formula.
Got it. Yeah. And so urolithin A is awesome. It helps to support by cleaning up the oxidative stress around the mitochondria, which helps with energy production better. I love urolithin A. I think it's a great tool. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, if you want to be a high performing individual, you have to do what other people, and you cannot continue to cater to other people. I think that's the last thing. And this kind of comes, I think, into the subtraction versus addition. But do you think that super successful people just like drop everything they're doing for everyone else? Absolutely not.
What's the saying? Your failure is not my emergency, or your lack of priority.
Emergency is not my priority.
Yeah.
Or like something like along those lines of like, what is urgent to you might not be urgent to me. Like we obviously are very aware and sympathetic to our clients and what they're going through. But sometimes if, we're in between calls or anything like that, and there needs to be like a huge adjustment, and I have back-to-back calls that day, or I have something else on my plate that day that needs to get done, we will let a client know like, hey, I saw this, I will get back to you. But like evaluating situations like that take time. I have to sometimes go back to their protocols, relook through everything, evaluate what's going on. Like I can't just do that in 5 minutes. And so it's a lot of times having to shift things around so that I can stay focused on what has to get done that day. Because otherwise, I have been there before, it will never get done. Months later, I still need to do that. Like, and then you never move forward. And one of the biggest pieces of a successful business is taking action fast. When you can move just faster than other people, guess what? You're going to get farther. Like, you don't overthink things. You don't, delay things. You just do it. Even if it's imperfect, you do it. And so again, it's why I love that Liz and I have each other accountable too, to like put deadlines to things of, we're starting it this day. Okay, well then we got to get it done by then. Okay, we're here. This is what's happening.
Like, this is our 4-week window for Elevate. We're getting it done. We're doing it. We've got the studio to film. We just need to time block, because otherwise it'll be, oh, okay, well, let's push it off to the fall because we're too busy. I'm moving. Like, just because I'm moving and it's a big task, I got the weekends that we have prioritized to get most of our moving things done, and it's funny because in that whole process, and we won't go into that, I'm telling people, like, my movers are here on this day, we're out. Like, I don't have time to be here on a Tuesday or a Wednesday. So figure it out after 5 p.m. because I'm not taking days off work to make this happen, other than when we actually travel across country, right, and move in. But I'm minimizing that time, and I want efficiency. I am paying more money to go through this process than I could if I had all the time in the world to just, act like I'm a mover. I'm not a mover, and we're not going to do it ourselves. And so it's just one of those things where you also have to, I guess it'll be the last point, evaluate how much your time is worth and then start to delegate. So many people will be like, oh, I could just do it. It's just easier for me to do it. A great example in our practice is like ordering a lab for someone on a different platform, like a specialty lab. I need to just sit down for 3 minutes, make a Loom video. Now here's the operating procedure for the assistants to be able to order these labs, right? Instead of, hey, I don't know how to order in the system. Can you do it? And then it's like happening 2, 3, 4 times. Well, that's 3, 4, 5 minutes of my time times 20. Okay, that's costing quite a bit of money. And so it's thinking about, even in those small daily tasks, where can I delegate? I don't have to be doing everything. I shouldn't be doing everything. And then also, if you struggle with delegation, one of the things that Vince, I think, has taught us well, because we are type A perfectionists, when you struggle to delegate, you have to realize that you will be your own cap to your own business in terms of growth if you don't start delegating. And then the expectation around something getting done needs to be that it'll probably be 60% and then 80% and then maybe 100% in 90 days, right? Because there's a learning curve for people, and you have to be fair for those that you are trying to train and onboard. So those are all just little like nuanced things if it's more on the business ownership side or the practitioner side. But I really think that if you're struggling with productivity, a lot of this comes down to all of the distractions around us and the lack of prioritization.